Hello, everyone, and welcome to Breathe Motivation. My name is Anthony Hester. I am the host for this show. Surprise, this is episode 2 of this week. Said I might drop another episode this week, so happy hump day to you. I hope you guys are having a great week so far. So glad to join you guys today. We're going to be talking about living in autopilot. You know, I kind of dropped a little bit of a hint there on the last episode, so that's what we'll talk about today. So let's get started by first of all saying thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate that. I'm so appreciative and grateful for you guys to be listening to this. My goal is to help you guys find purpose and passion in everything you do on a day-to-day basis. And we're achieving that. I love getting the feedback from you guys. I love that you guys are sharing this with your friends and family. And I greatly appreciate you guys rating me on iTunes and, just really, giving me feedback. It's so great to see that, we're making an impact together. And you guys help me just as much as, I'm helping you. And that's really great. I love it. I love talking to you guys. So continue to do that. Continue to, send me questions. I love answering questions for you guys. I'm just some ordinary guy that's, lived 30 years of life. And I want to share my experiences to help you guys out. And I feel like that's what we're doing. You guys help me. I help you guys. And that's the way life should be is, finding the best life that we can live, together. And live life for ourselves, the best life that you could live. So I know we're doing that. So I greatly appreciate you guys. So let's start off with the definition for today. So the definition is automatic. So it's done or occurring spontaneously without conscious thought or intention. So it's kind of a weird conversation. I've had this conversation several times and, even this week, it kind of just hit me. And I was like, I've had this conversation with my wife. I've had this conversation with friends, family. And it's interesting to find out, how many people kind of like live life on autopilot. And really, I took this last couple of days to really kind of try to understand why we do this so much. And there was a couple of things that I found, right? So my wife was telling me one day, hey, it's weird, but I don't even remember getting home. And, she's like, I just drove home. I know I'm here. And I was kind of like, man, that's kind of scary. Like, how do you not know, what you're doing, not realizing you're going home? And, that happened to me like a week ago. And I was like, wow, I don't even remember that. And that's the interesting thing about living life in autopilot is that your mind is somewhere else. Your mind's not focused on the present. And I think a lot of us get caught up in that, which leads to a lot of, different things. So first of all, I look at, from my experience, this experience in autopilot, I used to live life in autopilot, because, I had anxiety. I know I've talked a little bit about this, but anxiety is kind of a weird thing. It's something that kind of creeps up on you, and you don't really know what's going on. And for the longest time, I think for a couple months, I had no clue what was going on. My first time that I had like a panic attack, I was at work. I worked really hard that day, and all of a sudden, I felt like I was just so dizzy. I couldn't walk. And, when I get up, I was like, man, I'm going to fall over. And I was so scared. And just in my mind, I was just so scared. And it was just it was a weird feeling, right? I felt like I was going to die. And, obviously you don't know how you're going to, how dying feels like, but that's how I felt. And I was so worried. And it was like this big cloud of worry came over me. And this big cloud of fear came over me. And I, at the time, when that was going on, I lived life in autopilot. I was so afraid of things happening, what ifs. I was so afraid of, just life in general. I really look at life now, like I'm 30 now. And before, when I was going through anxiety, I always had all these worries. What if I don't live up to the life that I've always wanted to live? What if I don't make an impact in other people's lives? What if I'm just living a life of nothing, of meaninglessness? And it's really kind of just a strange place to be in. And I know that a lot of people struggle with this, and that's why I wanted to talk about it today, because it seems like I've had more conversations about being an autopilot, and a lot of people don't even realize what they're doing or how to get out of it. So I wanted to share that because that's how anxiety kind of crept up on me. And, it took a while for me to really realize what was going on. I thought I was having heart problems. I went to a cardiologist. I went to the doctor. I was like, what's going on? Nobody, your heart was fine. your mind's fine. I had an MRI, everything on my brain, everything's fine. I was so worried about all these things. And it really came down to the idea of me like limiting my life and limiting my expectations of what life was supposed to be. And that's what I think a lot of people do, is to, instead of facing, your fears or facing, the reality that your dreams can come true. It sounds weird to say that people are scared of their dreams actually coming true and into fruition. People are afraid of that. People are fearful of that. And that's why people live in autopilot. And, even with relationships, there's been times where like I'll be talking to my wife and we're just talking and, she'll ask me about a conversation and, I can't even recall the conversation because I was so not even focused on life or the present. And a lot of us aren't focused on the present. We're so focused and worried about the past, right? The past mistakes we've made. How could we have gotten better? What could we have done better? And how am I going to do better for the future now? We get so caught up in those thoughts. And when I was having anxiety anxiety attacks and all of that, it's a weird thing to go through. And some of us, maybe you've gone through anxiety. I get really, it's weird. I get really kind of like dizzy. I get, kind of my heart racing. It's a weird process. And, it's it's so hard to explain because when I try to explain it to people, unless you kind of have gone through it, I guess, I don't know, we all have different ways of going through, but I went through months, like 6 to 9 months of just pure torture within myself and, within my mind. My mind was always racing. And I was, the easiest way for me to, kind of limit that was to go into autopilot. I didn't want to deal with feelings. I didn't want to deal with, life in general. I just felt empty. I didn't feel, confident. I didn't feel, secure within myself. And that came probably from buildup, years of buildup, right? From life in general, right? Life is going to kick you in the face sometimes. And you can, you can run away from it and never really kind of address it. And then that's when these things kind of creep up on me. When I looked at it, I went through a short period of time. My favorite aunt had passed away and she was really young. I think, at the time she passed away, she was like 53. And, she's really young and it was just an amazing person and just, one of my favorite people in life. And, I really didn't deal with that. And, I was so afraid, when it comes down to it, when I look at anxiety and what I was so afraid of, I was so afraid of dying young. I was so afraid of, not living the life and living a life of potential, the potential that I have, right? I got so caught up in future thinking and even in the past that I was so afraid of, being the person I am and, being okay and accepting of who I am and showing myself empathy and saying, hey, things are going to be okay. And I think that's why so many people go through autopilot. It's because it's so much easier just to kind of shut down than to kind of face reality. But it's not good. It's not healthy for you. And it's scary to really look within yourself, right? You've got to be able to look within yourself and stop resisting the change. I think a lot of my anxiety also was, there were so many things that I wanted to change, but I was just so afraid to take that first step. I really was so uncomfortable doing it. So I resisted change, and that resistance really created that fear. And, I wasn't living the best life that I wanted to live. And I was just living life to, just kind of existing. I wasn't living life with intent. I have an intent to be successful in whatever my life wants to be, right? And so do you. My goal is just to live a happy life. And my goal isn't to live somebody else's life for me. And I think that's something that I have always kind of, been really hard on myself. I beat myself up all the time. And that's because I'm so afraid of not living up to, this idea of, perfection or this idea of potential. It's a weird feeling, but we've got to be able to live life with intention. We've got to be able to take steps to live the best life we can live. There are no limitations on your happiness. The only limitation is the bar that you set yourself, right? Think of, yourself and, think in your mind, like, do I have limitations or what are my limitations, right? And a lot of us will, hold ourselves back. And that's what autopilot does, is it holds us back from living the life we want to live. And what you've got to do, your life almost becomes predictable. If I were to ask you, what does your everyday look like? I'm sure a lot of you guys would say, oh, well, you could all probably tell me what your day would look like in a month, maybe 2 months, maybe 6 months. You could tell me what you're going to eat, in 6 months, and how your day's going to look over that 6 month period. And it's very predictable. So you start to become bored, right? You become distracted. You're distracting yourself with social media. You're distracting yourself with, all of these other things, right? You're not really facing yourself. And that's the way to freedom within yourself. Follow your heart. Follow your mind. Follow your soul. What burns you inside? What are you excited about when you wake up in the morning? When you're an autopilot, you're not excited to get up, right? You just want to lay there and go to sleep and, just live life as it comes. And it's so hard to get up, but you've got to just take one step and be excited about what you do on a day-to-day basis, right? You might not be happy with the career you're in. You might not be happy, in the relationships or the friendships that you have, but those things can all change. But you got to stop resisting that change, because that's what creates that autopilot. You don't want to address anything because you don't want to hurt people's feelings, or you don't want things to go overboard, right? I was so afraid of, confrontation, growing up. And I didn't ever address anything because I was so afraid. You got to stop being afraid of life. You've got to be able to run life and not allow life to run you, right? You got to be able to explore within yourself how to be the best person you can be based on what you want, right? Nobody else is going to live the life that you want to, right? Because nobody knows the life that you want to live. But you've got to be able to tell yourself that and share that with people, because that's going to help encourage people to help you along the way. Because we aren't in this life by ourselves, right? We're surrounded by a lot of people, right? There's positive people, there's negative people, and I want to surround myself with positive people that are going to help me grow. And same thing for you. You shouldn't expect anything less but that. Surround yourself with people that are going to help you grow, to be better, to help you be a better person, for you to help them be a better person. We're all in this together, right? When you focus on positive things do happen. And when you focus on life and the exciting things of life, and you start living in the present, great things will happen, right? Some of the things that I like to do is just like sit back and listen to music. I like to listen to music that I enjoy doing because it puts me in the moment. I love singing. I love hitting high notes. I shared that last time, right? On the last episode. There's so many things that you can do to find yourself and to, quit distracting yourself from those things. But live in the present, write in a journal, just write anything that you're feeling. Allow yourself to, no matter what you're feeling, right? Just free write whatever you feel, right? Whatever comes to mind, just start writing that, because what that does is clear your conscious mind to create great things for you. You're allowing all the, whether it's negative thoughts out of your mind, you're getting that out of your mind and allowing yourself to be the best you. You're freeing your mind. It's free, right? You're getting that's the best thing. Get out of the box. Get out of your box. Unwrap your present, right? Unwrap your present and be the best you. Be the best for you. That's all I can say, right? Stop limiting yourself. Stop resisting change. Change is a great thing. And so many people are afraid of it. If you're not happy doing something, change something, right? If you're not happy with a career, change your career. If you're not happy with relationships, change your relationship, right? If you're not happy with your friends, change your friends. It's okay. You're going to live. Things are going to get better. Stop distracting yourself by things that don't matter anymore. Get out of that box. Get out of being comfortable and start getting uncomfortable. That's where you really learn and grow and get better. Explore life. Explore yourself. Explore the ways you want life to be. And trust me, it'll pay off, right? Autopilot is the worst place to be. Stop living your life in cruise control, right? Start taking control. Stop allowing, other people to run your life for you. I did that for too long. I don't want anybody running my life anymore, right? We've got to start focusing on what's the best for us. Live the best life you can live, and others will find, the right people will find their way into your life. And you've got to be open to that. Be open to change. Be open to the idea that you are great. For so long, I would always tell myself how terrible I was as a person. And I believed that for the longest time. But I know I'm a great person. I know I'm a great friend. I know I'm a great husband. I tell myself I'm great. I'm where I need to be. And I will continue to learn and grow and get better. And you can do the same. You've just got to be able to turn off autopilot. You've got to turn off the cruise control. Be focused within, yourself. Live life with intent and allow things to happen and be the best you can be, because that's what's going to work the best. So press off right now. Give yourself the permission to turn off autopilot, to be in control of your life. Nobody else can control your life. Nobody can control the things that you enjoy doing. Only you can. But you've got to give yourself permission to do that. Stop distracting yourself. Answer those questions within you and just feel that freedom within. So let me leave you this quote. All great possibilities are realized in your heart. Sometimes you just need to stop and listen to what it's telling you. So follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Breathe Motivate. Like my page on Facebook, Breathe Motivation. Check out my website, breathemotivation.com or Breathe Podcast. And as always, remember to breathe motivation and exhale success. And I will see you next time. Thanks.